I'm just saying. If I were actually allowed to wear a tux, I could have shoved that many more Hawaiian rolls into my sleeves before they pushed us on guard duty. Now I just look like I'm patting my chest for some kind of sleaze. Well, not us on guard duty, if I recall. The big boss actually invited you to stay and mingle. Probably only because you look particularly delectable for the shareholders, but it almost makes me wonder why the hell you're hanging out with me instead. I mean, he gave you the open invitation to shirk this stupid routine altogether, to feast on as many Hawaiian rolls that you could get your hands on, to simply have a good time tonight, and you didn't? You're really not going to take the opportunity to preen under the praise he probably has for your work in front of all those people? Didn't you take this job because you're the megalomaniacal sort in the first place who's been waiting for somebody, anybody, to recognize your genius in the first place? You eggheads just keep on surprising me. But I guess you can't be all alike. Would probably make my job a hell of a lot easier if you were, but... Not the party sort, or just not the company gala sort when you're fully aware that you're rubbing elbows with some of the scummiest people to ever walk the earth. And yet, we're still worse than them. What a farce, honestly. It looks like the East Wing is clear. I suppose all that's left to do is move on to the West Wing. You are right, though. An electronic security system would probably be far more efficient, and far less culpable than the likes of me forced to wander these halls. I bet he just doesn't want my type on the floor in case I find a way to embarrass him as the ditzy muscle he hired me to be. All I'm saying is that it kinda sucks, but it's not like you're here to listen to my sonnets or whatever. Soliloquy? Ugh, whatever, man. You're here now, you gotta deal with it. What else am I gonna do to keep myself entertained wandering these halls? Thinking about how much my feet are killing me in these heels. Consider the fact that the boss mandated that the female employees have to wear open back dresses as some sort of highly specified dig towards me, and definitely not just a dirtbag sleazeball who is the sole reason that women's shoulders are considered obscene within schools. You're right. I could look on the bright side of things. I did get to steal so much bread. The two of us had the potential to eat like kings of a very disappointing kind of grain-based kingdom tonight with the spoils you were able to gather in your sleeves alone. See, you got to wear just a suit jacket, but also a lab coat. You don't even work with any kinds of dangerous chemicals that could need a smock like that. How is that fair? This dress code is totally bunk. They just want to be able to tell the muscle freaks to the brainiacs at the end of the day. Unsurprising from the big boss himself, but I still can't help but want to squeeze his head between my hands regardless. No, thank you. I appreciate the offer, really. Believe me. The last thing I want to be doing is walking around with Achilles' back over here, but I'm too big for your lab coat. My arms are just... yeah. But, thanks. Anyways. Nerd? I don't know. Do you hate this dichotomy? I know I enforce it as much as everybody else does, but aren't you tired of being the brain sometimes? Aren't you tired of being so weak? Aren't you tired of me having to be so strong in comparison? Strong enough to hurt you if you displease me enough, but too stupid to understand why I'm displeased to begin with? Aren't you just tired of this? Of being this? Whatever. Forget I said anything. It's easy enough to do, but it's not like I know what else I'd be if I wasn't built to bench press tanks. It's not like I know anything else or even know that I don't know anything else, but you... Somebody's coming. Somebody might already even be here. Quick! In the office! Huh. Isn't it funny how much this looks like our hall's collective office? Are you getting this? They're definitely not our men. Different dress code. The big boss thinks it's funny every year to give everyone else different dress codes to purposely isolate them from everybody else, but maybe his assholeish tendencies have a bit of credence to them. Who would have thought? And they cut a diamond-plated drill? One of the few inventions we've leaked to the outside world's commercial markets? They're planning something. They're planning something big for sure. Isn't this the same wing where your lab is? Hey, wouldn't it be funny if they were trying to break into your lab? I mean funny in the cosmic sense of the word, to be fair. Shit, I think he heard us. There'll be no way we can get the drop on him again if he finds us like this. Right, and the possibility that he'll torture and kill us. Yeah, not the time for lip. We need to... You're familiar with Tactic 23, right? Of evasive maneuvers training? How about Tactic 23B? Ugh. Just feel lucky you're the only one of my eggheads I've had to do this with. Privacy, Jack! You ever hear of it? The one private wing in all the facility, and you just had to ruin it for me and my beauty, didn't you? Oh, and where else do you suggest we do it, huh? On the dance floor for some real bump and grind action? Please. I bet you're only down here because you like to watch, you sick puppies. After all, you're not even allowed to be here, are you? Yeah, walk away! If your manager was here, I'd box their ears with talk of your indecency. You only did it to yourself! And that was Tactic 23. Generally, people, even secret agent type people, will avoid walking in on scenes of interpersonal interaction. And being seen in those scenes will often leave them flustered enough to forget their mission and leave. Tactic 23 is the divorce setting in which, as a blatant distraction tactic, you pull somebody else into your clear and obvious argument and be as obnoxious as possible until they're begging you on their hands and knees to let them leave. But Tactic 23B is the fake-out make-out, which is 10 times more lurid and leaves you 10 times more vulnerable, but is generally the one more likely to work. Just because nobody wants to be the one to address the PDA aspect of the ruse. Even when it's understood to be a ruse. There's no way those guys won't be back in 10 minutes if they get the same kind of training as us. I swear to God that Occam's razor isn't even their tool belt. I swear to God that Occam's razor isn't even in their tool belt. But... please... forgive my... use of this strategy. Given where we are, it seemed to be the more appropriate plan of action, but you clearly were not aware of what this strategy entailed, and you... kissed back? Regardless? Even though I barely gave you any context at all for what I was doing and how it could help us elude, I don't know, getting our fingernails ripped out? You still... I called you a beauty? It was the heat of the moment, man! You wanted me to sell this or not?
I suppose now all we do is wait. There's no way those guys won't be back after they realize how oddly convenient it was for us to be making out in the room across the way from them. In the room across the way from them. Or maybe they won't. Maybe sometimes a cigar is a cigar is a cigar is a cigar, and a lewd couple is just a lewd couple, no matter who they are or where they're at. I guess all we can really do is wait and see. Just please don't look at me.